Welcome back, Dr. Larry Corn. So glad that you are here with us. We have a very special guest with us, Mr. Terrence Woolf. We're going to be talking about wine and how you can enjoy wine and the different varieties of wine. I know Mr. Woolf shared with us a time before we were talking about Zinfandels and how enjoyable Zinfandels are, and how many people who aren't wine connoisseurs don't understand the quality and the value of a good Zinfandel. Mr. Woolf, how are you, sir?
Well, I'm pretty good today, I guess.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. Introduce yourself to our audience, and then let's talk about this powerful wine and how we can enjoy the delicacies of wine.
Well, part of the joy of wine is all of the varieties that are available. Too many people just buy Cabernet or Chardonnay, and they don't expand their wine drinking abilities much beyond the Pinot Noirs or Cabernets in the red wines and Chardonnay or Sauvignon Blanc in the white wines. So I've written this book so that people could take it to a wine shop. It would be small enough that they can make a quick reference to see if the wine they're buying is suitable for what they are going to be having for dinner. And it's just something that I found that my family and friends have appreciated my doing.
Yes, excellent. So you said that it's small enough to where a person could carry it with them, and while they're purchasing the wine, they can match the wine with their meal and what they're going to have.
Yes.
I know there was something, I think there's a misunderstanding about Zinfandels and the quality of Zinfandels, and you helped educate us on that. Speak to us about Zinfandels and some of the foods and the qualities of a Zinfandel that we can enjoy.
Well, Zinfandel is a grape that makes for a very good and rich red wine, or for a very nice rosé if done properly. Unfortunately, in years past, Zinfandels were pretty much relegated to being used to create a sweet wine, which didn't have a lot of fruit flavor, and basically was as close to soda pop as the winemakers could. So
when I think of Zinfandel, that you're saying now you just educated me. So when I think of Zinfandels, I think of a sweet wine. But you're saying that's the wrong mindset to have.
Well, I'm saying that there are so many good Zinfandels that are rich rosés or very, very nice red wines. Zinfandel makes a strong red wine, and we ought to try to make a wine suitable for dinner that is going to complement a rich red dish, such as a steak or lamb.
Okay.
And Zinfandel is very good for that if one buys one of the good varieties.
Now, see, I've never thought of Zinfandel as being a red wine, because I've always looked at Zinfandel as being, this real clear, but I never think of it as being a red wine. But you're saying that Zinfandel is a good red wine that can go with steaks and things of that nature.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I'm sure a lot of our audience didn't know that. Wow, that's interesting. So how can you educate us a little bit if we were to go and want to get a good quality Zinfandel, along with the books that you've written? What would be a good educational point right here that you could share with our audience?
Well, I think that your audience would be well advised to find a good wine merchant and shop with that merchant in mind, getting his advice. And I think that gives you a one-up advantage as opposed to people who are just going into a wine shop and looking at bottles.
Yes. And that's typically, now I tell you, I'm guilty. I remember years ago, I went in and saw these different varieties of wine. I heard somebody mention a port. I had no idea what a port wine was. Still don't really know what a port wine is. So what's a port wine, and what are those wines good to be paired with?
A port wine is a wine that has been stopped in its fermentation without regard to trying to make a wine that's suitable for drinking with dinner, as an example. Port wine is generally suitable for drinking after dinner. It is a wine that is originated in Portugal, and that is the reason the name, but it can be used in any number of ways to make a wine that's suitable for transportation. And its higher alcohol content, however, makes it unsuitable for drinking with a meal. Most people would find it oppressive to drink a port wine with a dinner, for example.
Oh,
Find that it was simply overwhelming the food that they were trying to showcase for their dinner.
wow. Now you just educated me, and I'm sure you just educated our audience. So a wine that's high in alcohol content isn't a wine that's suitable to complement your food when you're eating dinner.
Correct.
Oh, now I didn't know that. I had no idea. And you said a port is an after dinner wine when you're just going to sit around and drink wine and enjoy it that way, not with a meal.
Yes, that's correct.
My, that's quite interesting. I know sometimes people like to have cheeses and they like to have wine with cheese and different things of that nature. What would be a good wine that you could pair when you're doing like eating cheeses and crackers and things of that nature?
Well, almost any wine is enhanced by the flavor of cheese and crackers, as long as the crackers are decent quality and the cheese is of a good quality. You can have a brie or Swiss cheese or something of that nature, or one of the more exotic French cheeses. And those things can be made available.
Yes,
With,
sir. So if I'm having a brie cheese, Mr. Wolf, and I want to pair a wine with the brie that I'm having, what would be something that would be good to pair with that? I'm sure that that your book is a very valuable tool, but what would be something that would be suitable to pair if I'm having a brie wine, a brie cheese, and I want to pair a wine with it?
well, I think that almost any good quality red or white wine would actually do, because there are so many good wines that are enhanced by the flavor of cheese that you can almost not go wrong, as long as your wine is of a good quality and you're not drinking too much of it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But
sir. When you say good quality wine, educate us on that, a good quality wine, because I think most of our audience, I know myself, I wouldn't know a good quality wine if it's staring me right there in the face. Does price indicate that it's a good quality wine, or are there other things that we need to look for?
only to some extent. Price is not necessarily the main goal in choosing a wine to be of good quality. The price of a wine is affected by so many factors that one can find good quality wines for $15, $20 a bottle.
Okay.
And you can, again, the best thing is to find a good wine merchant. You can obviously also just go into a Costco, as an example, and look at the scores that have been given to the wines that they have on for sale.
Yes.
You can find very good quality wines if you basically select anything from an 89 to on up.
Okay.
And
From an
leaves,
89 on up?
Yes, that's my kind of arbitrary guide.
Okay,
It-
okay.
Wines below 90 generally are a good price point to look for, because you can find wines at 89 that would say be available for $15, $20 a bottle. And you can spend $100 a bottle on some fancy red wines if you really want to go to old Burgundies or old Bordeaux from France,
Yes.
which I have a little bit in my book. But the book's basically aimed at people who are just starting to drink wine and learn how to enjoy it without a lot of pretense and without a lot of expenditure.
That's good. The book is a beginner's guide to wine. So tell us the name of the book, and tell people, you know, information that you want to share about the book. And that's a good thing. The book is a good guide for beginners. Now that's very, very valuable and important. I'm glad you shared that information. So tell us a little bit about the book and where people can get your book.
Well, I believe Amazon and other people have the book for sale. It's been put on display at several book sites. And they should be able to buy the book in soft cover for somewhere around $10, $12, something like that.
Excellent.
So it's a buy in terms of something that you can use, you know, for a long time to guide you in selecting your wines, which will make for a better dinner and a better drinking experience.
Wow, that's so powerful. Want to thank you so much. So I did just off the top. If I were to say, okay, I wanted to enjoy a good glass of wine. I noticed earlier you had a glass of wine sitting there. It looked to be a red wine. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that sitting there. So what's that wine that you have sitting there?
This wine is a Cabernet Franc, which is a red wine used for blending in Bordeaux. It's a wine that has a lot of tannin in it, meaning it has acids that make it suitable for drinking just by itself or with cheese or crackers or with a steak. So it's a very red wine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we want to thank you so much for sharing this valuable information with us. Thank you so much for being with us, Mr. Woolf, and educating us on how we can really enjoy wines. And your book is a guide for the beginner to go out and be able to select the right wines and then talk to people who can guide us to the right wines to get. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And so we really appreciate you. Listen, I'm Dr. Carnes. We'll see you right here next time on Spotlight TV.